The number one reason landscapers struggle to grow their business is because of new client acquisition. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 pillars that you can implement into your business so you never have to worry about getting a customer again. What's going on, guys? This is Matt Thibeau here with Savant Marketing Agency. The first pillar that we're going to talk about is creating an offer for your business. Now, when I say offer, there are several different levels of that. So we're going to start off at the very beginning. The first thing that you want to do is pick a niche within your landscaping business. Now, within landscaping, there's lots of different things that you can do. But what I recommend is if you are choosing to use marketing to scale client acquisition, you want to focus on at least 1 or 2 services max to really use in your marketing for getting new clients. Now, for this service, I do recommend it's something that you enjoy doing, that you see that you have a competitive edge in, and that generally is already going well in your company. It should be fairly obvious to you of what service you really want to focus on. And this doesn't mean that you can't upsell other services later, but on the front end for your marketing, you should have 1 or 2 services that you're kind of known for. This is going to help you to penetrate the market easier because there are other companies that are saying like, hey, we do hardscaping, we do softscaping, we'll do cleanups, we do decks, etc. So you want to focus in and narrow in your marketing message to really reach out and grab your ideal prospect, right? The next part of this, though, is that you want to also make sure the service that you pick for your niche is either going to be a higher average order value or it's going to have a very high lifetime value. So let me explain. So an example of a high average order value would be doing something like a backyard oasis that would be like $50,000 plus, or maybe you're doing big hardscaping projects or landscape design projects. These are going to be one-off projects, but they are going to command at least a fee of like $30,000 plus. And so what this is going to allow you to do is bring in a lot of revenue in one shot because typically those aren't going to be a reoccurring job. But the other aspect of your service that you could focus on is going to be lifetime value. So lifetime value is going to mean that it's probably a lower ticket service, but it's going to be reoccurring and be something that the client is going to come back to you for again and again and again, hopefully. So some examples of this would be mulching or regular gardening services, planting, turf care. These types of services are going to have a high lifetime value, typically of like 4 to 5 years. And so those two types of models are what you're going to really want to focus on for your niche. So either higher ticket or you want to do something with a higher lifetime value, specifically for doing a marketing campaign, because it's going to make it easier for you to collect a real ROI. Some examples of having like a bad niche for marketing would be doing something like stump grinding, where it's like $150 per job and there's no lifetime value on the back end. That means that you're going to have to do a lot of stump grinding in a very short amount of time to be able to make the marketing campaign work. So I wouldn't recommend doing something like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, next, what we want to implement is going to be a promotional offer that is going to attract the attention of our ideal client. What we want to stay away from, in my experience, are doing any kind of price offers, because this is just going to attract someone we call the price shopper, who's kind of just looking for the best deal. And typically they're not really serious about actually moving forward. So what I recommend for several different services that you might focus on would be, let's say that you're doing like landscape design. I would recommend to offer like a free design mock-up included with the offer. So then, maybe you can use a simple tool like ChatGPT and then say, hey, we're going to be doing something a lot more in-depth later down in the process, but this is just kind of a quick look at what you could expect. And you could put a value on that. So then, they're going to receive that design and be able to visualize it a little bit better. That has a lot of value for a homeowner, and it's going to attract the right type of person into your business. Or for example, let's say that you're doing turf care. Maybe you can throw it in an added value of like a grub control treatment of one time included with your package or whatever it is, right? So maybe you could throw in some added extra value Maybe you're doing a backyard oasis and you throw in like a fireplace or like a backyard fire pit for free included with the job, right? So these are different things that you can include as a promotional offer that aren't going to be discounting, but you're going to be adding value, or you're going to be throwing in some kind of design consultation. It could even be that maybe you're offering same day estimates. So the value that you're offering is, a very fast estimate. This is going to attract people who are maybe more fast action takers. So essentially, you just want to get creative with your promotional offers that aren't price related, that your competitors aren't doing, so you can really stand out and ideally attract the type of prospect that you're really looking to work with. So that is pillar number one, is all about creating the offer and making sure you have the right model behind your marketing campaign to be successful. Let's talk about pillar number two. This is going to be getting the traffic to your offer, right? So there's going to be 3 different traffic sources that we recommend here. So we're going to start with, first is going to be Facebook ads. So this is one of the first traffic sources that you can start with to start driving qualified prospects to your offer. There's going to be a couple different things that are going to come into creating very successful Facebook ads. Number one is having authentic content to use on your Facebook profile. So what I mean by authentic content is what's working really well right now are just videos in vertical mode of you filming yourself as the owner of the landscaping business and just being like, hey, we're helping homeowners in the area. This is what we're doing. Give us a quick text or a call to get in contact, etc. So you want to have enough content that's very authentic, that is going to basically get people's attention. And the authenticness of it is really powerful because it's going to speak directly to the homeowner and it's going to build a lot of trust. The other thing that I would recommend doing for your Facebook ads is going to be testing a lot of different ads. This is why landscapers will hire a marketing agency like us, because we take care of all the management of all the testing. Because what will happen is if you only run a handful, like 1 or 2 ads over the course, a period of 4 weeks, you will start to see the cost per lead go up because Facebook needs more content to be able to start to scale that campaign. So you're going to want to test a lot. And typically for each campaign, now with the new update on Facebook, which is called Andromeda, we're testing around 15 to 20 different ads per ad set. So it is a lot of management. And I do recommend, though, that you do a lot of testing to keep the costs of your campaign and your cost per lead down. The other aspect too that's important for Facebook ads is going to be having a correct budget. So I wouldn't recommend doing a Facebook ad campaign for anything less than $1,500 a month. Anything less than that, and it's like you just don't have enough capital to be able to really take advantage of the benefits of Facebook. So $1,500 a month, that's a good starting point. And then I would recommend to start scaling up to $3,000 or $5,000 a month. This is where you can really start to scale up your acquisition. And we have some clients who are into, multiple 5 figures a month in just meta ads. Okay, so that's Facebook ads. What I would recommend after that is implementing Google ads. So Google ads, you can do search ads and you can do local service ads. I would recommend to start with local service ads. They're simpler. You're going to be able to control the cost per lead a little bit better. And so some of the things that are going to go into making a successful local service ads campaign is going to be, first, getting lots of reviews on your business listing, because this is essentially going to be boosting your Google business listing in Google. And then people who are typing in up for your services, let's say like landscaper near me or whatever, they're going to see that ad pop up. And so the more reviews that you have on that listing, it is going to be more attractive to them. You also want to make sure that for your Google local service ads that you are picking the correct category that you're bidding on, right? So if you're a landscaper who's doing like landscape design, you don't want to be bidding on mowing services, for example, right? Or vice versa. So you want to make sure that the category that you're picking for your local service ads is going to be the correct one so you can get the right leads. You are going to notice that the leads that come from local service ads are typically further down the buying cycle than Facebook. So they are a little bit higher quality because they're going to be easier for you to close. Like these people typically have done a little bit more research and now they're just looking for someone to hire. The downside of local service ads, though, is that you can't really control the lead flow as much as Facebook. You're kind of at the mercy of the demand of people searching for what it is that you offer. And typically the cost per lead is going to be a little bit higher, but again, they are supposed to be higher quality leads. So that is a bit of a trade-off there. Once you have the Google ads in place, then the final thing I recommend to really start putting your focus on is going to be the local SEO. And this is basically the process of ranking that Google business listing and search results higher up in the organic listings. Now, this means that you are not paying for ads to rank this up higher in search results, which also means, though, this is going to take a little bit of time. So local SEO is a lot like real estate in the sense that in the initial stages, it's going to be an initial investment, but then you'll start to see the returns come back later, right? Some of the biggest driving factors for local SEO is going to be, again, reviews on your business listing. So you should be constantly getting new reviews for your business, especially if your landscaping company has a higher volume of customers, then you have a big opportunity to capture as many reviews as possible. Whereas if you're a smaller design and build firm, then maybe you're going to have less customers. So you need to really focus on getting those reviews when you do have the opportunity to do that. The other aspect too of local SEO of ranking is going to be something called NAP consistency. So this is the name of your business, the address, and the phone number of the business. And you want to make sure that across the internet, all of this information is the same. So let's say, for example, in Yelp that you call the name of your business one thing, but then on Google, it's called something else differently. Google is not going to like that. So you want the name of your business to be the same on your Facebook page, on Google. You want it to be the same everywhere. And then also the same goes for your address and for your phone number. So all you guys who are asking like, hey, if I move addresses, is that going to negatively affect SEO? Yes, it is, because then you have to go back and change that address on Yelp and BBB and all these different directories, right? And so that's going to be a considerable amount of work. So I would recommend getting married to that phone number and that address and not changing that. So at this stage in pillar number 2, you should start getting a lot of traffic come through the paid media, but then also the organic SEO that we just talked about. The next pillar, number three, is going to be appointment setting. Now, this is where a lot of people drop the ball because they'll be getting all of these leads coming in through, but then they just don't have the infrastructure in place to really capitalize on these leads. And so the first thing I want to talk about here is going to be the 50-30 rule, which is basically a rule that I came up with after analyzing a bunch of different campaigns and seeing that essentially 50% of the leads that you generate from online marketing are going to go into an estimate. And then of those estimates, 30% should close. And that's kind of like a minimum baseline that we look for a client's performance. And if anything is out of whack from that and it's lower than those, then typically there's going to be problems in the closing portion of the sales process or the appointment setting portion. And so we want to look at that. But 50-30 rule is typically like a very good rule to follow. And I would recommend doing that for appointment setting. And so just to set your expectations there, that's kind of what you're looking at. 50% of appointments, and then of those appointments, 30% closing. Now, the other aspect to make sure that you're getting great results with your appointment setting is having an awesome CRM. We give all of our clients Go High Level. Go High Level allows us to set up custom automations through text and email, to our clients to manage their pipeline properly so that my success managers can see everything that our clients are doing and the deals they're closing and what they're worth. And so it's just overall a really great system that I would recommend. And so if you don't have a CRM and you're going to be doing marketing, you definitely want to get a CRM in place so that you can take advantage of all those opportunities. The other thing too that I'm going to recommend as well is that with appointment setting, there's actually 3 different pillars within that. So there's going to be your connection rate, which is like actually being able to have a conversation with the leads. And this is going to come down to mostly just speed to lead. So your connection rate of picking up the phone, being able to have a conversation is like, make sure you're calling your leads, call them as fast as possible. And you should have a connection rate of 90% on all of your leads, right? So you should be talking to most of them. If you're not, then it's usually speed to lead, or it could be a marketing issue, but that's a whole other video. So then the next pillar though, within the appointment setting is going to be your discovery call. So this is a short call once you get them on the phone, 10 to 15 minutes of just asking them a little bit about like, why are you looking to do this project? How long have you been thinking about doing this? Have you ever worked with another landscaper on something similar? Am I like your first quote, or are you talking to some other guys? So you're just getting some general information. And essentially this is just to understand, like, is this worth for me to go out and actually do an estimate for, right? And then the final part of the appointment setting is going to be actually booking that appointment. So you want to book in for a specific time and date. Ideally, also, you want to make sure that both decision makers are there so that you can actually close the job right then and there on the spot. And that's going to bring us actually to the fourth pillar, which is sales. So at this point, we have generated the lead, we've qualified them, we've booked the appointment. Now we want to make sure that we're actually closing the deal, right? And there are several different things that I'm going to give you here as tips to be able to make this happen. Remember, you should be closing at least 30% of your appointments. And so the first thing that I would recommend is to do in-person estimates if you can. Obviously, if you're doing lower ticket services like turf care, it might be suitable to be able to give an estimate right then on the spot on the phone. But you are going to have to be using some kind of incentive. Maybe it's like a same day discount if they move forward that day or something. But what I would generally recommend is to do an in-person sales meeting to be able to give them the quote. So ideally, you are meeting in person, doing some measurements, and then you're going to say, hey, give me a little bit of time. I'm going to go in my truck, crunch some numbers, and I'll come back and we can go over everything together, right? So in-person estimates are almost always going to boost up your close rate. Anytime that a client is struggling with sales, we usually will consult them to just start doing in-person estimates at that point, and then we almost always see the close rate will go up. So that's the first thing. Second thing is to always make sure that your quote has a good, better, best option. So now you have 3 different packages for the client to choose from. And this is going to put you into a situation where at the end of presenting it all, you can be like, yeah, so these are the 3 different packages, which would make more sense for you. So now it's not a question of, do you want to do this or not? It's a question of which package do you want to do, right? Which is going to help you a lot in the sales process, because at this point, the prospect will probably say something like, I'm thinking probably that package would probably be the best for me. And then from here, you can go for what I call the momentum close, which is awesome. Yeah, I think that package would be perfect for you. So the next step from here is going to be putting you on our schedule. I have availability for next week, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Does that work for you? And that is what I call like a soft close. So a lot of contractors and landscapers will lose the deal in the close simply because they're losing momentum. So the person will say, yeah, that package works for me. And they'll say, okay, do you want to do it? And they'll go back to the yes or no question. Instead, just say, the next step from here is to book you in our calendar. We're filling up. I've got availability at this time. And then they'll most likely agree to that. And then you can just roll with it and then say, awesome, let's process the payment and we'll see you Wednesday at that time, right? So the momentum close is very powerful. And really the only way that you can set yourself up for a strong momentum close is to do the good, better, best option, which I highly recommend in your estimates. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe. If you have any questions, comment below. I'm happy to answer. And as always, if you're watching this right now and you own a landscaping company and you're really looking to take things to a next level with hiring an expert marketing team to handle everything for you, my link is in the description. You can book a call with our team. We'd be happy to speak with you. All right, guys, I'll see you on my next video.